Hey guys, welcome back everybody. Hope you all are doing great. Guys, today in this video, we are going to see some basic and important configurations of Palo Alto Firewall through CLI, through command line interface. You know, sometimes CLI based configuration is more important than GUI. Again, I am not saying GUI based configuration is not important. Even I love the GUI interface of Palo Alto Firewall because it's user friendly. But in some scenario, in some cases, CLI or command line interface knowledge is very important for configuring and troubleshooting Palo Alto Firewall. Even its recommendation that whenever you are troubleshooting the issues on Palo Alto Firewall, you should use CLI. But many people knows the GUI based configuration, but they don't know the CLI based configuration. Maybe you are familiar with GUI based configuration, but you are not familiar with CLI based configuration. Even if you are going to search it on YouTube, like the Palo Alto Firewall configuration, you will find lots of videos to configure through GUI, but you will not find a single video to configure it through CLI. So that's why I thought to make one video to show you the configuration of Palo Alto Firewall through CLI. Now, without wasting our time, let's start. And guys, before starting the configuration, let me tell you when CLI based configuration is more important. You know, CLI provides faster configuration, right? CLI allows quick configuration changes as compared to navigating through GUI, right? So like if you have bulk configuration of Palo Alto Firewall and you have commands in the notepad, you can copy it and you can paste all the commands together, right, on the CLI. So CLI provide faster configuration. Okay. Another reason, most important reason is troubleshooting. Troubleshooting is more effective through CLI as compared to GUI. Yeah, because many advanced troubleshooting commands, for an example, packet capturing, session monitoring, checking logs, are available only in the CLI, right? Or even if it is available in the GUI, then CLI provide more detailed output than GUI, right? CLI provide more detailed output than GUI. So that's why it's recommendation to use CLI for troubleshooting Palo Alto Firewall. Like let's say you need to check the sessions and you have remote access of your Palo Alto Firewall. So in the CLI you can run command show session all. Through GUI, first you are going to access the Palo Alto Firewall through GUI. After that you are going to navigate it, right? And even you will not get the detailed information like CLI there on the GUI. The third reason can be automation and scripting, right? CLI is useful for automation with like Python or Ansible, or whenever we want to configure our device through a script. So you should always learn first CLI based configuration of any networking devices. It is going to help you in future when you will learn the automation, right? It is helpful for remote access as well, as I told you, right? In case of GUI failure, let's say you are not able to access your Palo Alto Firewall through GUI, then you have only one option, that is CLI. And if you don't know the CLI based configuration, if you are not familiar with CLI, you cannot do anything, right? So in that case, CLI is the only way to access and restore the firewall. The another reason can be, I can say, log analysis and deep packet inspection. For the deep packet inspection also CLI is the best. CLI provides deeper insights into log and real-time traffic monitoring, right? So that's why it's a recommendation to use CLI for troubleshooting. Okay. So conclusion is, while GUI is user friendly, CLI is faster. GUI is user friendly and CLI is faster, more reliable, and necessary for advanced troubleshooting, right? For advanced troubleshooting, this is compulsory. You have to use CLI only, right? So now hope now you are able to understand the benefit of CLI knowledge. command line interface knowledge. And now let's start the configuration. You can see this is my scenario, and in my scenario here I have one Palo Alto Firewall, one interface of Palo Alto Firewall Ethernet 1/1 is connected to internet, and one interface Ethernet 1/2 is connected to my internal router. So on this Palo Alto Firewall, see, through CLI we are going to create the zone. We are going to put the interfaces in zone. We are going to configure IP address on the interfaces. We'll create the virtual router. We'll assign interfaces to the virtual router. We'll configure one default route towards internet. We'll configure NAT rule, and we'll configure security policy to allow traffic from inside to outside. After that, we'll also see the management interface configuration through CLI. First, let's cover the management interface configuration, and after that we'll move to the interfaces configuration. So see, I am going to access my Palo Alto Firewall through putty, and the management IP address of my Palo Alto Firewall is 192.168.1.20. So let me select the SSH protocol. By default, SSH is enabled on Palo Alto Firewall. So say 1.1.20, and port number of SSH is 22. Let me open it. So network error, connection refuse. I think the management interface IP address is not 1.20. I think it's 1.6. Let me open my CMD. Let me ping the IP address, management IP address, to check the reachability. Ping 192.168.1.20. So I am getting reply message, and ping 192.168.1.6. So yes, I think 6 is the IP address of my Palo Alto Firewall. 6 is also reachable. Let me access it through 6. Again, let me select the protocol SSH. IP address is going to be 192.168.1.6, and port number will be 22. This time I am expecting the access. Yes, you can see username is admin and my password is this one. Okay, now you can see I got the access of my Palo Alto Firewall, and this is the verification mode. The first mode is verification mode. So this is verification mode, and guys, last time I had created one video for the verification commands, right? So you can watch that video also to get more familiarity with the CLI, right? Here you can run all the verification command, like I can check the management interface IP address, so system, and then I can say info. It is going to show me the management configuration here. Like you can see host name of my Palo Alto Firewall, the IP address over here on the management interfaces, you can see 192.168.1.6, and we'll change it to 1.20, right? After that, the public IP address, net mask, default gateway, and the IP assignment method is DSCP. I will configure it as static, right? So here you can check the configuration of your management interface. This is verification command, and I want to change the management configuration. So first of all, for the configuration, I have to enter in configuration mode by running command configuration, right? And see, any configuration related to device will start from set device config. Device config, management interface is a part of device only, right? So that's why I'm saying set device config, and after that system and host name. Let's say I want to change the host name to firewall, so I can say host name firewall, right? So this is the command to change host name of your Palo Alto Firewall. Let me write all the commands in notepad. Also I will put the link in description. This is the command to change host name. Then second command over here can be like to configure the management interface. Let's say your Palo Alto Firewall is configured as DHCP client. If you want to remove that, then you can say delete. I can say delete, and then device config again, and then system, and after that type is going to be DHCP client. So by default, which command is running? Set device config system type DHCP client, and I am deleting it. This is the way to delete any command on Palo Alto Firewall. Like on Cisco, you are running no command. Here you will use delete command. Okay, and after that I am going to say set again device config, then system, and I want to change the IP assignment method to the static, right? By default method is DHCP, you have already seen that. So here I am going to say static or type static. This command will set the management interface IP assignment to static, and after that I can say set device config system and then IP address. IP address on the management interface 192.168.1.20 and enter, and then we can say again set device config system net mask 255.255.255.0. okay. After that, similar like this, you can define the DNS server IP address, you can define the gateway, like I can say set again device config system and then default gateway is 192.168.1.1 for the internet access through management interface, right? Similarly, I can set the DNS server IP address also, set device config system DNS setting server primary, right? I can say primary DNS server is 8.8.8. then I can say set device config system DNS setting server secondary, and let's say secondary server is 1.1.1. like this you can configure. Similarly, you can set the NTP server also. Here I can say set device config, and you can see my all commands is starting from set device config. Now set device config system and then NTP server. Here you can define the NTP primary and secondary server. Primary NTP server, you can define the domain name or the IP address of NTP. Right now I am not going to configure the NTP server here, IP address of NTP server, but this is the way. Like I can, let me set the NTP also. Set NTP server primary NTP server, and here we can put the IP address of NTP server like 192.168.1.1. NTP server IP address primary NTP server, this one, and then put question mark here. Syntax error, just wait. Here it is asking for NTP server address. NTP server address 192.168.1.1. like this you can configure. This is the command to configure NTP server. Similarly, you can configure the time zone also. We can say set device config system and after that time zone. So for an example, my time zone is Asia Kolkata, like this, right? So this is my management interface configuration. Now if I will commit this configuration, then my host name is going to be firewall, right? The IP assignment method on the management interface is going to be a static, and IP address on the management interface is going to be 192.168.1.20. the gateway is going to be 1.1. the DNS server IP address and the NTP server IP address will be there. Let me pause the video for a moment until the commit is working. Now the IP address of management interface is changed to 192.168.1.20. so let me open the putty for the new session, select the protocol SSH. IP address is now 1.20 and the port number is going to be same 22. It will ask me for the credential admin, and password is Now after the access, you will see your host name is changed to firewall. Now you can see host name of your device is firewall, and now if I will run command show system info here, so you can see the IP address on management interface is now 192.168.1.20. subnet mask gateway, and the IP assignment method is now static, right? So this was the management interface configuration, and now we are going to configure the Ethernet ports. So let me take you to configure terminal mode again, and here we are going to configure the interface. Your all the network related configuration will start from set network, and here I can say interface, which interface, like interface type, is Ethernet, and then interface ID Ethernet 1/1 for an example. So if I need to configure this interface Ethernet 1/1, as you know, on Palo Alto Firewall we have multiple types of interfaces. I can make this interface layer 3, layer 2, virtual wire, tap interface, HA. So which type of interface you want to configure? Layer 3. So let me say here layer 3, right? So this interface is my layer 3 interface, and after that we can define the IP address here. What is the IP address? IP address of Ethernet 1/1 is going to be 1.1.1.1/24, like this. Got it? Similarly, I have one more interface here, set network interface Ethernet and Ethernet 1/2. You know, like I need to shut down the port, so I can run this command here. I can say put question mark. You will find the option to shut your port also, like here you can see link speed and link state is there, right? So link state, I can use link state and then shut down link state and down, up, auto. So this interface should be also layer 3 interface, and IP on this interface is going to be, guys, 10.1.1.1/24. So now we have configured both the interfaces of Palo Alto Firewall, Ethernet 1/1 and Ethernet 1/2. We have assigned the IP address and we make the port layer 3, right? So interface configuration is done. Now we can create one virtual router here, right? By default one virtual router is already there on Palo Alto Firewall with name default, right? And if you want to create the new virtual router, you can use command again, set network and then virtual router. And guys, if you don't know any command and you want to find the command, right? So there is one keyboard to find the command. Like in this mode, I can run command find and then command. If you don't know any command, then you can use this command and then keyboard. Like I want to find the command related to virtual router, let's say virtual router. So it will show me the all commands related to virtual router, like clearing, show routing summary, virtual router, and the name of your virtual router. To configure the virtual router, somewhere you will find command set network virtual router. Like this, you can find command as well. If you forget the command and you want to know the command, you can use this feature, right? Again, let me take you to configure terminal. I know the command to create virtual router. It is going to be set network and then virtual router. Name of my virtual router is, let's say, VR. VR is name of my virtual router. And after that, do you want to put any interface in this virtual router? Yes, I want to put which interface? Ethernet 1/2 and Ethernet 1/3. Both the interface should be in this virtual router. So Ethernet 1/1 and put question mark here, 1/1 and 1/2. Like this, you can put the port in your virtual router, right? So now we have created the virtual router also on Palo Alto Firewall, and we have assigned these two interfaces to that virtual router. Now the next thing is we need to create John here, the most important thing. To create John, again you will use command set network, right? All network related command will start from here only, set network, and then not network here. I am configuring John this time, so set John, and which John you want to create, name of your John, let's say inside. I want to create one John with name inside, and then you will use network keyword, put question mark here. Then type of your John is going to be layer 3, and after that I think we can add the interface. Yes, which interface you want to add in inside John? I want to add Ethernet 1/1 in inside John. Similarly, I will create one more John, set John outside, name is going to be outside, and then network, again layer 3, and which interface I will add in this John? I will add Ethernet 1/2. Sorry, see here in inside John I should have Ethernet 1/2, not 1/1. So what I will do, I will delete this command. How I will delete this command? I will use delete keyword here, delete John inside, like this. You can see the inside John is deleted. Again I am going to set John, name is inside, then network layer 3, and then Ethernet 1/2 should be in inside John, right? Then set John outside, it will create one outside John, and network is going to be again layer 3, and the interface is going to be Ethernet 1/1 here, right? So this way we have created the John over here. Now see, on my Palo Alto firewall we are done with John configuration. We have two John, inside John and outside John. This interface is in inside John, this interface is in outside John. We have also assigned the IP addresses, and then we have one virtual router with name VR, and both the interfaces are part of that virtual router. So if I will commit it, and if I will run show IP route command, I will find two routes in the VR virtual router. Now here we need to configure one default route towards internet on Palo Alto firewall. So let me set one default route here. To which virtual router? To VR virtual router. So command is going to be again set and network, because default route is the networking configuration. So network, then virtual router, and name of your virtual router is VR. I have only one virtual router. Even if you will put question mark, it will show you the VR is there. VR and default is there. Default is by default available on Palo Alto firewall, and this is newly added virtual router. So I have selected the VR where I want to add the default route, and after that I will say routing table, then IP, and you want to configure a static routing, so a static route, and the name of your static route, let's say default is the name of my static route, and after that it is asking for the destination. So destination is going to be 0.0.0.0/0, and then it is asking next hop IP address, next hop. So let me say next hop IP address, next hop IP address will be 1.1.1.2. so this command is going to add one default route in the routing table of VR virtual router. So in the default route, see, we have defined the destination 0.0.0.0/0. We have defined the next hop IP address 1.1.1.2. You can define the interface also, like you can use command set network, then again virtual router, your VR, and routing table, then IP static route, and after that name of your static route default, it was default, and then we can say interface Ethernet 1/1. Like this also we can configure on the interface. Either you can define the next hop IP address, or I can define the interface, or I can define the both, right? So my default route configuration is also done. Now the next thing is we need to allow traffic from inside to outside with the help of security policy. So let's create one now security policy here to allow traffic from inside to outside. So command is going to be set rule base, and then you can here call your NAT rule, you can call the security policy. I am going to create security policy here, so I will say security rule here, security rule, and then name of your security policy. Name is, let's say, inside to outside, right? So this command will create one security policy for me with name inside to outside. And now in this security policy we are going to define the John source address, destination address, action, everything. So let me say set rule base security rules, and security rule is inside to outside, and here I can define source. You can define the source, or you can define any here, any keyword, means if source is anything. If you have multiple subnet in the source, you can define the range of source as well, right? And then I am saying destination is also, I am saying any, destination is any for me. So I have defined the source address, I have defined the destination address, but we did not define the action till now, and even we did not define the services. So if you will not define the service, it is going to be for all the services. If you want to configure the security policy for a specific service, you can define that also. Let's say I only want to allow HTTP or HTTPS traffic from inside to outside. So we can select the service also. We can say source service, like set security, set rule base security rule, and then name of my security policy is inside to outside. I have only one security policy, and here we can say source, and if you will put question mark, you can see source user option is there, right? And source option is there, through which you can define the source address, destination address, and somewhere services should be also there. Services, yes, here is the service, right? You can define the service here. And now here we need to define now zone, from which zone to which zone you want to allow the traffic. So for the zone, I am going to use keyword, I think zone here, not zone. Let me check the available options here. Source, okay, here we can use command from which zone, from inside zone, to which zone, to outside zone, right? Even you can see after running from command, if I will put question mark, I have all the available zones here, inside zone or outside zone. So I want to allow traffic from inside to outside. So like this will define the zone, and then we can define finally action. Action is going to be, guys, allow. Action, I am going to allow the traffic. So in the security policy, we have defined the source zone, destination zone, from where to where you want to allow the traffic, which traffic you want to allow. Even you can define the services, and after that finally I have defined the action. Now the last thing is here, which is required, is NAT policy. We need to perform translation. So let me configure the NAT now to translate private IP address into public IP address, right? Again, your command will start from set rule base, and rule base is going to be this time NAT rule, not security rule. Okay, NAT rule. After that, name of your NAT rule, let's say my NAT. This is just a name, my NAT. And after that, again from and to. So which traffic you want to translate? From inside zone to outside zone. I want to translate the traffic from inside to outside. Here we can define the source also, like source maybe 10.1.1.1, or I can say source any, right? Source any. Destination is also any source, any destination I want to perform translation. Destination is also any, and hit enter. You can see it has created the NAT rule for me. Now I have defined the source address, destination address, source zone, destination zone, from which zone to which zone we need to translate the traffic. Now we need to set the translation NAT type. So set again rule base and NAT rule, and I have only one NAT rule. You can see with name my NAT, and here I am going to now define NAT rule to interface. To interface, which interface? To interface is going to be my Ethernet 1/1. Ethernet 1/1 is my to interface. And then if I will put question mark here, again we have so many options. Let me hit enter. We can define the services also, like set rule base NAT, my NAT rule, and then my NAT, and here we can say service, let's say any. For all the services, it should perform the translation. You can select the specific service as well. Then again set rule base NAT rule, my NAT, and here I can define the now source translation. Source translation type is going to be what? Type is, for an example, I am configuring dynamic IP and port translation, and after that you can define the interface address. It is asking for the interface address. Interface address is nothing but the interface Ethernet 1/1, right? And here we can define the IP as well, IP 1.1.1.1. What happened here? It is giving error. Source translates dynamic IP and port interface address. IP is not valid. Here we can put the /24 like this, right? Now done. Now we can commit the configuration because we are done with all the configuration. Let me commit it. Until then, until commit is working, let me pause the video, and we can do one more thing to verify it. We can access it through GUI also. Till then, let me open any Opera, any browser. I'm using Opera, and in the Opera, let me put the IP address of my management IP address of my Palo Alto Firewall 20. So let me log in here. Username is going to be admin. Password is, let me log in. If I will take you here, let's say in the network section, and go to interfaces. So you can see both the interface Ethernet 1/1 and Ethernet 1/2 are configured as layer 3 ports, and the IP addresses you can see here, right? Commit is still under process, that's why it's not green. After that you can see the virtual router is VR, right? Tag nothing is there. John, you can see 1/1 is in outside John, and 1/2 is in inside John. So here we can verify it. Let's commit succeed. What happened here? Security rule base inside outside is missing. Service is missing here in the rule base. So let me say set rule base and security rule inside to outside, security rule inside to outside, and here I can define service any, right? And after that commit is first. Again there is issue, the application is missing, application any. Now guys, you can see commit successful. Now if I will take you to the GUI for the verification. So let me take you to the network section, go to interfaces. First of all, see both the interface Ethernet 1/1 and Ethernet 1/2 are configured. The interface type is layer 3. IP addresses you can see here, virtual router you can see, John you can see inside to outside. If I will show you the John here, you can see I have two John, inside John and outside John. Okay, then we can verify the virtual router. You can see we have two virtual router, one with name default and one with name VR, which we have created, and both the interfaces are member of this virtual router. Now if I will take you to the policy, so you can see first security policies here. So you can see two policy by default exist on the Palo Alto Firewall, intra-zone and inter-zone, and here we have created one policy with name inside to outside, right? The type is universal. In John you can see here, in this security policy, source John is inside, source address is any, user is any, device is any, destination John is outside, destination address is again any, device is any, application is any. Then let me show you the NAT rule. You can see we have one NAT rule with name mynat, right? And source John is again inside, destination John is outside, destination interface is Ethernet 1/1, source address any, destination address any, service is any, translation type is dynamic IP and port, destination interface is Ethernet 1/1, and address is 1.1.1.1/24. If you will check the routing table, go to virtual router, network, then virtual router. Let me show you the routing table here. You can see in the routing table we have one default route towards internet, and next hop IP address is 1.1.1.2, right? And in the forwarding table also you can verify it, right? Now if I will take you to this topology, and if I will turn on my router and ISP just for the verification, I can configure the ISP router as well as my edge router R1. For the verification, like everything is working fine or not. No. Until then, let me configure the ISP router. See guys, this ISP is connected to real internet through my laptop. This is my local laptop. So on the ISP, I can do one thing. I can either create one loopback with IP 8.8.8 for the testing, or I can configure the real internet here. Enable config T interface F0/0, say no set, and IP address on this interface is going to be 1.1.1.2.255.255.255.0. Exit, and the interface F1/0 is connected to my local laptop. Here I am saying no shutdown, and IP address I'm saying DSCP. It will get IP address from the DSCP, and IP NAT outside. I can configure this interface as outside for the real internet access, and interface F0/0 I can configure this interface as inside, IP NAT inside. Here I can create one access control list for interesting traffic, access list number 10, permit any, and then I can say IP NAT inside source, match source from list number 10, and translate it into the IP address which is running on interface F1/0, and let me use the keyword overload. Let me save it. Then let me take you to the internal router, edge router, and on the edge router also I am going to configure one IP address. Interface F0/0 no set, and IP address here I am configuring 10.1.1.2 255.255.255.0, and let me add one default route, IP route 0.0.0 0.0.0 F1/0, and next hop IP address 10.1.1.1. and now if I will ping 8.8.8, ping should work. Ping 8.8.8. Go to your Palo Alto Firewall, and from here let me ping the router, ping 10.1.1.2, sorry, ping source 10.1.1.1 and host 10.1.1.2. The ping is not working. Let me check router config. So IP interface brief 10.2, IP is correct. So IP interface brief 10.1.1.2 line protocol. Sorry, I have configured the wrong interface of router. Let me correct it. Interface F0/0 no IP address, and then interface F1/0 is connected to my Palo Alto Firewall, say no set, and IP address 10.1.1.2 255.255.255.0. Exit, and I had configured one default route, so let me say no to this default route, and then IP route 0.0.0 0.0.0, and exit interface is F1/0, and next hop IP address 10.1.1.2 10.1.1.1, right? And now you can see Palo Alto Firewall is able to ping my router, edge router, and from the edge router now I am going to access internet, ping 8.8.8.8. So IP route, default route is there. Let me ping the Palo Alto from Palo Alto Firewall. I am going to ping the ISP once. Ping source 1.1.1 and host 1.1.2. So it is reachable. Ping 8.8.8. Ping source 1.1.1 and host 8.8.8. So there is some issue on the ISP router. So IP route, default route is not there, and so IP interface brief. On F1/0 it got the IP from the DHCP server, that is fine. So IP route, but default route is not there. Let me add one default route here. IP route 0.0.0 0.0.0 F1/0 and next hop IP 192.168.1.1. and now from the Palo Alto Firewall, let me ping, and now you can see from the Palo Alto Firewall I am able to ping internet. From the router now I am going to test the connectivity, ping, and you can see ping is working. Means from my router I am able to ping now internet, and we did all the configuration of this Palo Alto Firewall through CLI only. Okay, so guys, this was basic and important configuration of Palo Alto Firewall through CLI. If you have not watched the verification commands videos, then please watch that video also. Maybe that video is also helpful for you. That's all for today. We'll meet soon in the next video, guys. Till then, stay safe. Bye bye. If you have any question, query, concern, please let me know in the comment section. If the video was helpful for you, if you have learned something from this video, then please hit on like button. Thank you.